Hello, and welcome to Stephanie and Stephanie Talk Tunes. Hello, Talk Tuners. We so appreciate you coming back, listening to us here on episode 4 today.
Yeah, hello, Talk Tuners. I love that, Stephanie. Hey, I love it. Welcome.
Gotta name that bass, you know?
Guys, can you believe we made it to 4? Oh my God. Just yesterday, it was 1.
It was just 1. And folks are coming back and listening, and we so appreciate it. We're so grateful for it. So thank you, and definitely keep reaching out to us.
Yes.
For today, we have a little bit of a change of pace. And we do have a trigger/content warning today. We're going to have talk of suicide, and just want to make sure listeners are able to have that as a heads up. But today we're going to talk about Chris Cornell largely, and that's including the anniversary of his death, which we just passed. Chris Cornell, of course, is lead singer, Soundgarden, part of Audioslave, prominent solo work, Temple of the Dog. Chris tragically died by suicide 4 years ago on May 18th, 2017. And such a bright light and such a loss, and we are such fans and wanted to honor his memory today and talk a little bit about our memories, how we tie that into his work and everything that he did for folks, for music, and his legacy.
Absolutely, Stephanie. Y'all, Chris Cornell, I have goosebumps right now. His passing, very hard, such a talented man. And I'm so excited that we get to share our story and our personal stories as well, because his music, lives forever. He's awesome, Chris. Up there, singing with the angels. Talking about this tough subject and the passing of him, I thought it would be worthy to bring in some words from his wife, Vicki Cornell. I found a interview that she had back in 2018, Good Morning America, with Robin Roberts, and I'm just going to quote some of that interview that she had. Vicki Cornell, she recalled the year before her husband's death when she said he fell back into addiction after being sober since 2003. So, bigger picture, Chris did have addiction. But want to make this very clear that his death was not an overdose. It was death by suicide. And Vicki had mentioned in the interview that approximately a year before he died, he was prescribed a benzo to help him sleep due to some pain in his shoulder. And that really caused him to kind of go back and dive into some of his former addictions. And to this day, Vicki is trying to destigmatize addiction and just really make the masses realize that it's not a choice, but it's a disease. And he is missed, and we're going to close that there because we can go on. But Chris, let's talk about the music and talk about our fun times. I feel so honored that I'm able to see him live. So let's go. Let's kick off the good times.
Absolutely. And I think from what I understand about Chris, who I never knew personally, but I understood he probably want fans to remember the good times. From what I've heard about him
so many
over the years, for sure. And what all he gave us. And prominent Chris story of ours is related to his time in Audioslave, of course.
Yeah.
Super group Audioslave. We start a little story here. I'm going to call it Myers, Peace, Love, and Understanding in a Mosh Pit. It's really the title of this particular story. So Pena and I went to see Audioslave Austin Music Hall show. And that was in March of 2003. So bringing it back. If we think about things at that time, Audioslave was all over the radio.
Yes.
They had, the fame of Soundgarden and Rage together, of course, had these pre-made audiences. So think about that in terms of audiences, in terms of this show. All those fan bases were there that day. So
Boy, were they. Oh my God. You had the bros, you had the emo-esque, you had, oh my goodness, you had us. We don't know. We felt somewhere in between. It was great. Oh my gosh. Yeah. The energy that both of these bands and their fandom. Oh, it was a good crowd. Go ahead, Steph. This is a good story.
It was such a good crowd that day. And of course, we were both so excited to see them. We were ready for this show. So we get there, and it's right before the show. We're trying to get good spot in the crowd. I think I had gotten a little ambitious with my spot in the crowd, because that was the time in my life where I was doing things like that rather than picking a seat, which is what I would do now. But in this case, I was in the middle of the crowd near the front. And
yes, you were.
Things were about to start. And I was waiting right there. And Chris started out with, you got to remember, Chris was a funny guy, too.
Mm-hmm. Everything I read about Chris is like, he is definitely the definition of a light, bringing in joy. So go ahead, Steph.
Yeah, hilarious. So with that, he decided, I'm going to start the show off with what's so funny about Peace, Love, and Understanding. Of course, a cover of the Elvis Costello classic. So he's on his acoustic, comes out.
Which threw everybody off, by the way. Everyone's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I know. I'll never forget it. He's out there.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, all right, we're going to start here. I was like, this is something. So there we are. Chris is beginning. And of course, we knew that wasn't what an Audioslave show was going to be like.
Yeah, no.
That wasn't going to be it. But talk about your false sense of security, having that acoustic song at the top of the show in the middle of this packed crowd. And so so peace, love, and understanding.
Yeah, for guys that don't know that song, you really need to listen to it. Like, after you finish with this episode, go back, go to your Spotify, wherever you get your tunes, look up Elvis Costello in this song. So this really was out of left field. But it was great. Nobody gave a shit because it's fucking Chris Cornell. We're like, yeah, but a little like, okay, what are we into today?
Exactly. What are we going to do? So, and it's funny too, if you look at the history of that song, Elvis Costello said, it's meant to be an ironic song, guys. So enjoy it.
There you go.
So he finishes the song, mind you, this is on his acoustic. And in a split second, it changed to Audioslave's Gasoline, which, if you recall, was on the radio. It's this hard driving song, to say the very least. And in that split second, the wave of people who were mostly stationary just shifted. Not in your regular kind. I've been in mosh pits before, but this wave of people shifted, just split second, just fucking overtook me. And like I said, I'd been in mosh pits before, but hadn't experienced anything like this, and didn't think, I thought I'd have a little bit of time before the crowd took this. So I could, in that second, I could feel my footing go from underneath me. And I was about to get shifted kind of directly underneath everyone's feet. I'm 5'4", guys. So in that second, kind of out of nowhere, Stephanie just, she saw what was going on, and she grabbed me. And she pulled me out of that crowd quicker than a flash. And if I'm recalling, Stephanie, you were off to the side. You were like, Myers, you want to start in the middle there? Are you sure? So you were off to the side, so you were really paying attention. So you grabbed me, pulled me out quicker than anything. And I don't, to this day, know where you came from that fast. But you did it. So want to say thanks for your quick thinking on that one.
Oh, you got it, friend. You know, I mean, guys, I guess this to say I'm just a natural talent with crowd control. I mean, explains why I worked in event security for so long. I mean, I'm a hero, right? Y'all remember Vince Neil? Yeah, so I'm in the business of saving people. Real American hero. But yes, I was off to the side, girl, because I was like, I remember when you went up in the middle, I'm like, damn, go girl. I'm not, you know? I was like, I've been to my Rage Against the Machine shows. People get fucked up. I'm like, I know how rowdy this shit's going to be. I'm going to kick it over here on the side. I don't know. I didn't lift my weights this week. So I can't handle these bros. But it was funny when you mentioned the wave. It really was. It was like a stampede. It was like a pack of wolves. I was like, oh my God. Like, oh my God, the dude's like, Chris. we got Tom Morello up there. It's like, yeah, it was insane. So glad that I was able to get you out, man, because it really was that quick. It was seconds. I'm like a mom, so I used to work this was like, I guess, my training before I knew that I was going to actually work in the industry, because I just have like this eagle eye, man. I was like, and I have saved other friends too, girl. Like, Bridget, if you're listening right now, when I saved you at the Metallica show, let's talk about that. So anyway, I have saved plenty of friends. So I'm glad that you're still here. We could talk about it, but that was so special. Oh my God, so special. So Audioslave, that show was fantastic. And let's just mention Austin Music Hall. That was the original Austin Music Hall. It's no longer around. It's gone. So it makes me sad. Seen a lot of great shows there. Man, so many good stories. But that was at the original. And what we're going to go ahead and just talk about Audioslave in general right now, because we're talking about two bands, and we're also going to be bringing in some of our personal memories from these fantastic bands, Soundgarden, Rage Against the Machine, and Chris, man. So let's talk about Audioslave real quick. So Audioslave, again, is a super group. A super group. What that means is that you got larger than life bands that come together to make badass shit. And you're like the stuff that you're just like, oh my God, like my head's gonna explode. I'm so excited. And so Rage Against the Machine, Zach De La Rocha had just left the band. Broke my fucking heart. And we're like, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? And check it out. So Rick Rubin, the great producer Rick Rubin, who founded Beastie Boys and pretty much everybody else under the sun, not even to go there, but he met with Rage Against the Machine, the remaining members, and advised them to reach out to Chris Cornell. Chris was in the middle of his solo. So his solo stuff. So Chris is, he's had his band. He's so cool. He's in his own shit, right? But he's like, hey, I got an idea. And Mr. Rubin hit it. Audioslave, a force to be reckoned with, for sure. And their first album came out in 2002, was self-titled. And the first song, which is probably their most popular song, this is why I want to talk about it, is Cochise. And Cochise, it's like, what is Cochise, right? That's such a peculiar title. I've always wondered. And so, of course, me being the geek that I am, I go and do my research. And so research showed me that Cochise was an Apache chief born in 1812. His name never shows up in the lyric, which has nothing to do with him. So this song does not have to do about the Apache warrior. Audioslave guitarist Tom Morello came up with the title based on the vibe of the music. He was reading about Cochise at the time. Said Morello, Cochise was the last great American Indian chief to die free and absolutely unconquered. When several members of his family were captured, tortured, and hung by the U.S. cavalry, Cochise declared a war on the entire Southwest and went on an unholy rampage, a warpath to end all warpaths. He and his warriors drove out thousands of settlers. Cochise the Avenger, fearless and resolute, attacked everything in his path with an unbridled fury. The song kind of sounds like that. Yes, it is. Stephanie, man, come on. That song is just a force.
And it's so interesting as a song without even knowing that. And to know all that info too, it just brings quite an extra dimension. And I wonder if listeners needs to go take another listen to it. It's been a while since it's been on the radio, but definitely encouraging folks, go take another listen with these facts in mind.
Yes. And so something else I'm going to layer on that. So this is, talking about Chris and his life. He had found sobriety, and he has been quoted in several articles saying that Cochise was basically him singing at himself in the mirror. And so look at those lyrics, listen just to the powerful music, and also know about the history of Cochise himself. And just the way it starts, like the drum roll, there's this, guys, I seriously have fucking goosebumps on right now. And the video, holy shit. After you do that, watch the video, because the video is really just them performing the song on a stage. There's pyro. It's just like, we're badass. Again, we're a super group. We know our followers. We got this. Now we're going to blow your minds even more. God bless them. So good. Oh, man. So I feel like I've taken a lot of this time here, but Steph, please talk about your memories with Chris Cornell, Soundgarden, etc. Talk about your fandom.
Yeah, I got a lot to say about my fandom in this area. Audioslave was amazing in so many ways. And the fact that they could even come together like they did. was just, to your point, just kind of incredible. In so many ways, for me, Chris Cornell was the heart, or one of the hearts, of Audioslave, just for me. And my Chris fandom goes back so far. When I think about it, I mean, I loved Chris so much. I would say my fandom with Soundgarden and Chris stretched back to like 12 years old. I got into Super Unknown first, as a lot of people did, and I very much remember getting that CD. I think it was one of the first CDs I ever got, actually, once I had segued from cassette tapes.
Right on.
And I loved every track off Super Unknown. I love it. It was a well-deserved top 40 album. But from that, I got the chance to really delve into their back catalog, get into their older stuff, and then I got into Bad Motorfinger and followed them from there. From there on, I was a fan. And yeah.
Can we pause for a second? I just thought about this, Bad Motorfinger. Yo, Chris Cornell's so fucking badass that Johnny Cash redid Rusty Cage. That's an original Soundgarden song. That, kids, if you do not know who Chris Cornell is and you don't know about his music, you need to go. Like, oh my God, Johnny, and if you don't know who Johnny Cash is, that's real sad too, but Johnny Cash is a legend in himself. He does not need any of Chris's music, but that shows how respected he was in the industry. He remade that song. Oh, so good. So good.
Absolutely. Anyway. I'm so glad you brought that up. I mean, and that's the Rick Rubin connection there too, because that was Johnny Cash paired with Rick Rubin do that great cover. And from what I'm recalling too, Chris Cornell was really honored.
Yeah.
That Johnny chose that. And it's incredible, right? Because it's like country outlaw deciding to cover this hard rockin' song. And anyway, it's fantastic. So definitely go check that out.
One of my favorite running songs, by the way, from Runner to Runner, and any runners on the line, you need to run to Rusty Cage. That's
I like
a badass
that.
song to run to.
Ooh, I'm going to add that. Oh, that's perfect.
Yes.
It's got the right build, you know?
Yeah. When you're having those days where you just don't want to run, you're like, damn it, why do I do this? Yeah.
Ooh,
Chris,
okay. Oh, I like that. Okay. I will do that. In fact, make a note of that right now.
Awesome.
So, Bad Motorfinger, such a good album. Love Rusty Cage. I followed, said every album they did, and then as well as solo Chris Cornell, which I feel like people, had different thoughts about if they had followed his other projects. I really liked his stuff. I especially liked Euphoria Morning. I thought that was a great album, and I'd recommend that to this day. He just had a gift for being able to switch genres in a nuanced way when he wanted to. Right. That's his gift as a songwriter.
So versatile. Oh my gosh.
So good. And even going back to Soundgarden, I remember when Down on the Upside was released. And that was shortly before my birthday. And it was such a big deal to go get it on my birthday. It was like the only thing that I wanted. So they were a very special band for me. And Chris is just such a special guy. And I know he was for you too. On your musical journey and in so many ways.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And then I had the good fortune of seeing Soundgarden several times, in addition to our crazy Audioslave context of seeing Chris Cornell. And they're just so good. And my friend Ethan and I had trekked out from New York when we both lived there to catch what was then the Reformed Soundgarden doing their little Reform tour. And that was we went from New York to Newark, New Jersey. If folks are familiar with the Prudential Center out there, decided they were going to have that show out in, I think MSG was being revamped or something.
Yeah, I was like, why don't you do MSG? But whatever. Anyway.
Yeah, cool. I remember that. I was like, okay, but we're going to go see him. And it was such a great show. I had such a good time. And as Ethan reminded me the other day, Chris is just he was so funny. He was so unbelievably funny, which is, you see him and you're like, oh, well, you're a rock guy. I'm sure you can stay in your lane, dude. But he was so funny. He was at the show and somebody had thrown panties at Chris on stage. And instead of being like, oh, hey, he picked them up and looked at them clinically which was hilarious. If you could see his like droll look on his face. And he was hilarious throughout. He just had this dry banter, and he was so good. And he just knew how to connect with a crowd, which even I think professional musicians don't always have the ability to do, but he had such a natural ability to do it.
What do you do with them, Steph? What do you do with the chonas? Did you throw them down, or did you throw them back at the crowd? What do you do?
I think he gently kind of tossed them to the side and like continued with the next song. It was just like,
love it.
It was just like, all right, like these are here, but you know, all in a day's work as a rock star, I guess.
Woo! That's so funny.
He's doing his thing. And then I also saw Soundgarden again with our wonderful mutual friend Gina in 2014. And she very sadly and tragically passed away 4 years ago this summer. We're planning on, as an aside, having a future episode kind of focused on memories of music and Gina. So look out for that, Talk Tuners. But it was for her birthday, and she and I went to the 9 Inch Nails and Soundgarden show.
That's a good birthday.
Down out in Jersey. So another little trek. Went to the PNC Bank Arts Center. Folks are familiar.
Venue.
Love it.
Great venue.
Folks are familiar with the pavilion, and it's similar pavilions throughout the country. I think it's the same company. Cynthia Woods Mitchell Pavilion holds a special place in my heart in Houston. I think it's literally the same blueprint. So lots of good memories.
Amphitheaters, man, are the shit. Thank you, Greek gods. Thank you, Greece. Thank you.
Right. I'm such a fan. That's my favorite place to see a show, I think, is outdoor amphitheater. So 100%. Big fan of that. And went out to see that. Gina had never seen Soundgarden, and they put on, of course, an incredible show. And so her birthday gift from me was to go see this show.
That's awesome.
That was really cool. I think of a kind of funny story related to that show is I'm a beer nerd. So I found like the most obscure beer that the venue had. And I went to go, I was like, this stand over here, this beer you've never heard of. I was like, oh, okay, cool. I was really excited. We had like lawn seats, and I went up to sit on it. And somebody came over, and it was security, and they insisted that I'd smuggled it in. And they'd found like the most obscure beer, and they were like, oh, well, that's not real. And I was like, I bought it right over there. And so I think Gina had talked me down a little bit because I was like, I'm going to fight Scott. She's like, this isn't even worth it. But they took it away from me. I bought this
that beer was like $10. Yeah, that. I would have got pissed off too. Oh yeah, Gina was so good at calming people down, man. God bless her.
She was like, this isn't even worth it. Like whatever. So they like sat there and took it away. I kept thinking,
that's so sad. That is like the saddest story in rock and roll for a fan.
I know.
And I rarely beer.
I know. And I rarely spring for like the expensive beers at shows because I'm like, I'm gonna have to go to the bathroom, whatever. But anyway, I remember that because I was like, God, really? So and it's this big security guy. Yeah, it was so stupid. So they took it away, and I kind of remember thinking like Chris Cornell wouldn't abide by this kind of treatment of fans in the venue. Gina and I were kind of joking about that. I think he would be cool with it. And as an aside, PNC, if you're listening, I complained, and they did give me tickets, free tickets, I think VIP passes to a future show. So I escalated it. Yeah.
Good. Good.
I escalated that one up the ladder because I thought that was
applause.
Stupid. So anyway, that's an aside, but lots of funny and good Soundgarden and Chris Cornell memories. And he was just such a force to be reckoned with. You look back on his work, and some of it, you do see a certain darkness along with his brilliance. And you kind of think about the context in which he left us. And sometimes that's hard to look at. But, I always think it's like, you don't always know what somebody's going through, but he was amazing.
Yes, absolutely. Matt, thanks, Steph. That's really great. I just can't believe about that beer. I'm sorry. That's really going to stick with me all
I
day.
knew you would appreciate that.
Yeah, because I love beer, y'all. For those who don't know me, I absolutely love beer. And just as a concert goer, you know those prices are jacked. And it's like, really, I'm sure you spent a lot of money on that beer.
It's too
That's
much.
annoying. That's annoying. I'm glad. I hope you had a good show wherever you went to after that. But with those VIP tickets. But anyway,
It was very dumb.
well, Soundgarden for me, that was my first intro into the lovely world of Chris Cornell. And like you, Stephanie, I definitely dived into Super Unknown first. But I knew about Rusty Cage because as an MTV watcher, that's all I did. They always showed Rusty Cage video on what is it, 120 Minutes, Alternative Nation. And I just remember seeing Chris with this long, beautiful, curly hair. And I was like, oh my God, who is this dude? And I have curly hair. And of course, I didn't know how the fuck to do my hair at a young age. And I'm like, I need to know what products he's using. Seriously, I'm not fucking joking. I'm not joking. I would always say I want Chris Cornell hair. He had the best curls. So beautiful. So was it fair? It's like guys who like have the long eyelashes, you know, and women are like trying to put falsies on. I don't do that, but I have, and I understand. I get it. It's not fair. Like, why was this man born with this beautiful long locks? I could never get my hair. But I remember that video too in Rusty Cage because he's like got his shirt off and shit, and I'm like, he's all like fire. I'm like, yeah. Anyway, so young Pena really appreciated Rusty Cage.
He was a beautiful man, and I don't want to be lookist. I don't want to be lookist and reduce him to that, but also just a gorgeous man.
This ultimate package, man. Ultimate package. I'll go there. So the cool thing, though, I will say about Super Unknown. So when that came out, it was 94, excuse me. It was 94. And he cut his hair. And I was like, which was fine. And I was like, this is so cool. Like, even if I were to get a boy cut, I want to look like Chris Cornell. He had fabulous hair. So I had Super Unknown, but it was on cassette. So I did not have a CD player yet. My brother got all that crap. I got the scraps. I'm joking. But anyway, I got Super Unknown, and I still remember the cassette A-side that ended with Black Hole Sun. And that was the first release off that album. And boy, was that fucking song played out. Like, oh my God. And that video too. Oh, with the crazy eyes. And just like all the obscurity in that, really great. And then, no, was it Spoon Man that was first? Was it Spoon Man or was it, I don't know. I'm sorry, guys. I don't have it there.
I want to say first single was Black Hole Sun, but that was definitely their breakthrough for that album.
Oh, yeah. Like, you have people, I mean, that's when they become really a household name because Soundgarden was, grunge band from Seattle. Nirvana was obviously the grunge poster band. But Soundgarden was around before Nirvana. These guys he's been playing with, his bandmates for a while. But anyway, side B started with Spoon Man. And check it out. So June of 1994, I went to Vegas with my friend and her parents, and we stayed at Circus. Here we go. I'm always talking about Vegas. Okay, guys, talking about alcohol, Vegas. Y'all get a little bit insight into me and my personality. But anyway, I was like 12, 13, whatever, going to Vegas. And I remember we drove and I brought a bunch of music for me to listen to. And I listened to the Super Unknown up A-side, B-side, like over and over and over again, because this ride first day was like 13 hours. And so I'm like, okay, check it out though. My friend, we were in a van and she had a television. And in that television, we were watching OJ fucking try to escape the cops on the highway. So I'm watching the OJ chase while I'm driving. This is on the way back from Vegas, back to San Antonio, and I'm listening to Soundgarden. So that was my soundtrack. So I always put Vegas, OJ, and Super Unknown together.
Yeah. I love that. I like that.
Yeah, so every time I see that fucking Bronco and that shit and that shenanigans, I always like, oh, that was alive in the super unknown. Alive in the super unknown. First is still and then it's still so good. And like, oh my God. So love it. And, we were talking about Chris's solo work. I definitely like it. Sun Shower. That's a really great song. Yep. And his rendition of Prince's Nothing Compares to You is so beautiful.
Yeah.
So that's a really great one as well. So I mentioned Supergroup. I'm a big Rage Against the Machine fan. Holy shit. They are amazing. I saw these guys back in 1997. I was a sophomore in high school. I saw them at South Park Meadows in Austin. And for those who do not know who may reside there, South Park Meadows was Concertland. It wasn't where the Target and all the other crap is. No, it was concert land. And I actually lived on there in an apartment. It just made me sad. I was like, I probably like moshed over there by that tree back in the day. And I was like on my balcony in my apartment looking so funny. But anyway, huge concert land, one of the best places to see concerts anywhere. But anyway, I went up, I saw Rage Against the Machine. It was my first time seeing them. And I, at the young age of, at that time, 16, you know, like Stephanie said in the beginning, she went up in the middle of the crowd, you know, she's like, I got this. Well, I had this. And not only did I have this, I was like, I need to fucking crowd surf. That's how badass I am, right? Ladies and gentlemen, do not fucking crowd surf, okay? It is, just don't. My ass fell right in the middle, which was fine, which is where I wanted to be, but I lost my shoe. I lost my shoe because Rage Against the Machine, you don't fuck around with that crowd. That shit was rowdy. I thought I was going to die. Like, I was grasping for air. Like, it was in fucking tense. Yep. And the shoe that I was wearing was my fucking Docs, my 3-hole blue Docs. And I'm like, shit, the shoes I met Myers in. I'm like, I love those shits. I ended up finding the shoe after the show. I was like, no shit. Shoeless Stephanie's fucking jamming. One shoe Stephanie jamming out to Rage Against the Machine. So fucking badass. But oh my God, that's the last time I fucking crowd surfed. I was like, guess what? I ain't that bitch. I ain't that bad. I ain't got it. But I sure was up in the front on the barricade. And oh my God, what a fucking show. Seen Rage Against the Machine too many times to count. Saw their last show in San Antonio at the Alamo Dome. Oh my God, I've seen them in New York. Oh my God. And then just bringing back like all these memories, you know, just being around, being so, you know, fortunate to be around such good music growing up and all of these cool old venues that Austin had, because Austin did get its name for a reason. It was the live capital of music of the world. South Park Meadows, definitely a great venue. Just want to do a quick shout out to those venues that are gone. The Back Room. Every metalhead fucking loves the Back Room. Everybody, oh my fucking God. The Back Room. And there's actually a movie that's coming out about the Back Room with all the old school Austin OGs talking about it. And I laugh and I'm like, I guess I'm an OG because I know like a lot of those people in that film. Anyway, but that's okay. I'm down with that. I can be OG. So never thought I would. And like Liberty Lunch, that was a good venue too. And, you know, old school emos. Emos are still around. So was Antone's, but they're in different locations. They actually overtook the land of the Back Room. So weird. But hey. Red 7. Oh man, saw Brian Posehn there, do in a big badass metal show at Red 7 during South by. Oh, Brian Posehn. Yeah. So good. And then, you know, Red Eye Fly. There's a lot of things that have closed. But man, music. I can keep going, kids. Anyway, Chris Cornell, Rage Against the Machine, Tom Morello. Wow. That's all I gotta say is wow. I think I'm gonna go have to watch like old concert footage or something.
I know, and I feel, you know, it's like I just feel so fortunate to have seen all these guys, but especially Chris, in their prime. When so many folks now, it's, you know, the history books. We've lost so many folks, but yeah, really missing Chris and just feeling like, yeah, there's a chance that might have never gotten to see him play, but just thinking about how he was, what he gave to the world of music, and just how he, you know, was as a person, being able to, you know, give his gift to the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I feel like I always really appreciate that. And I know you feel the same.
For sure. So I saw Soundgarden at the second Austin Music Hall, and that was in May of 2013. And that was amazing. And I did catch them at Circuit of the Americas when the 9 Inch Nails and Soundgarden show that you and Gina went to. Talk about the best shit. Like, what a bill, right? How fortunate are we? Holy shit. Trent Reznor and Chris Cornell the same night. What the fuck?
I know.
Like, oh, that was so great. No one stole my beer.
Nobody took your beer like they took mine.
Bastards. That's not right. But yeah, so good. And I would say, you know, as a fan, just watching Chris perform, because even with Soundgarden, there, you talk about how he's versatile. There are some Soundgarden songs that are just, we said rockin' like Rusty Cage, and there are some that are just really melodic and slow. Watching Chris play, I don't know. I felt like I was going through different times. Like it's weird. I don't know how to explain it right, but I really just was captured and fully focused on him and the music, and so awesome.
Yeah, being able to captivate, I think, a crowd like that too, to say, okay, you see that sometimes in frontmen, not all of them. But I think about like Freddie Mercury and Live Aid, it's like, play into the back row and just have that ability. And I think Chris had that ability, and people don't always talk about him in the same breath as I think they should. We talk about these frontmen of all times, and I think that he should be there, and he deserves that credit. And I hope that time will give him that credit.
Yeah, absolutely. And just like thinking just about his life in general, and another fantastic artist that died by suicide, Chester Bennington. They were close. Yeah. And you talk about those voices, because Chris, when he belts and when Chester belts, oh my God, it's just like, whoa, it's so unique, so beautiful. And I just think about those two souls singing it, rocking it, and the other side. How awesome is that? Awesome is that, man?
Absolutely. But those losses that are, just the biggest, they leave the biggest holes,
Yeah. Tom Morello's no place. And he plays live. He has his own solo stuff. And on the back of one of his guitars, he has a sign that says Cornell Forever.
I didn't know that. I love that.
Yeah.
Oh,
so that's good shit, man.
That's awesome. It seems like, he'd be the type of person who would make sure he's always kind of paying tribute.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, man, now I'm just going to have to go back in time and listen to all those bands, plural.
Plural, right? Yeah.
Plural. That's the greatest thing. So definitely gave us a gift of many memories and such wonderful music. I don't care what genre you like. You could find a Chris Cornell song that you could relate to and enjoy. He's just that good.
Absolutely.
Amazing. Well,
absolutely.
Episode really 4. I think it's a wrap.
I think we're close. Yeah. We really appreciate everybody listening to what we know is a little bit of a different cast today, what we talked about. And, if you're struggling, you're not alone. There's the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. That's available 24 hours. That's in English and Spanish. That's 800-273-8255. You're not alone. And just please do remember that if you're listening today and you're feeling a certain type of way. So want to say thank you. If anything resonated with you today, or if you have thoughts on today, as usual, please do feel free to reach out. Connect with us.
And if you have some Chris Cornell stories, let us know. I want to know about your experiences, because damn, mine, it's so beautiful. Sometimes I just can't put it into words, but I would love to hear. Maybe you saw them, when Soundgarden was still like the know nothing band. I'd love to know if you have any listeners out there when they were still pretty underground. How badass is that? Like, sorry, bow down to you, king or queen. That's cool. That'd be good. Yeah. Love to hear some shit like that. Rage Against the Machine before they made it big. Anybody out there in LA who saw Zach, belting young before they made it big, that'd be cool as fuck. So such important bands. These bands are so important. They just are. They are so important to the industry. So would love to hear anyone's stories. If you saw Audioslave yourself, let us know how that was. Definitely, as you're looking into our catalog, if you have a minute, if you could leave a review for us, let us know how we're doing. This is our 4th episode. We want to know. Just let us know what you think. If you have a minute, you can review us on Apple Podcasts. You can review us on Spotify, whatever you choose. And we thank those to everyone who's supporting us and, making sure that they're following us on the socials at Stephanie's Talk Tunes. And we love you. What else can we say? Yeah. Thank you. This was an honor doing this episode. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I feel really honored to even be able to speak about all this today. And so to Stephanie's point, please do reach out to us on social. Tell your stories, because we'd love to hear them and we'd love to share them on a future episode. So please do reach out to us. We're Stephanie's Talk Tunes on every handle except for Twitter, where we are Stephanie's Talk, because that's shorter and that's what they'll take on Twitter. So please do reach out there and say hi to us. We love hearing anything you have to say.
Till next time, guys.
Till next time. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Peace out.